Rose is AIM listed. We are earning into a 75% working interest in approximately 80,000 acres. It's 125 square miles. It's a vast acreage position in the Paradox Basin in Utah. The end of last year, we shot 40 square miles of modern, very high quality 3D seismic data, and spent the beginning of this year interpreting that. We then, in March, acquired some additional acreage under the 3D as a result of the results, which are extremely positive. And so far, through our interpretation of just one of the class sticks, the Paradox is made up of multiple class sticks, target areas, 21 being the primary one. And within that, we've identified 60 drill targets to date. We're using that data, and just within the 3D coverage on our acreage, we then took the Ryder-Scott report, which gave us unrisked prospective recoverable resources, and then calculated back to the acreage and came up with our number of 38 million barrels of oil equivalent, gross mean. And that is only one class stick. So the upside on this is really quite impressive. We are permitting 2 wells at the moment, and those are expected in Q3 of this year. We have a very experienced operational team, which we were very lucky to get quite recently. We had a bit of a swap round in our ops team. Fidelity Exploration and Production, who are operating directly south of us, was acquired about a year and a half ago, and the team became available because the new owners decided to use their own team, and therefore all these people with a huge amount of experience became available. I'll go into a bit more detail about that in a minute. We're on track for our first appraisal well to be drilled in Q4, and funding discussions are underway. We took the project to NAPE in Houston earlier in the year and had a really significant interest, of which we're working our way through. Just to give you an idea of where we are in the US, we have the Niobrara, the Piceance, the Uinta Basin, the Paradox, all in this area. So it's a large hydrocarbons area. Within the Paradox, we've got Lisbon and Aneth, which between them have produced 550 million barrels of oil and 1.2 TCF of gas. The Paradox Basin, here, the spotter, we have the Cane Creek field in here. This is our acreage, all the brown. This is made up of a unit called the Gunnison Valley Unit, and that is the area in which we shot our 3D seismic. We acquired this area here more recently, and the 2811 well, which is literally 400 odd meters away from our acreage, is a producing well, so there's no doubt there's hydrocarbons there. The Cane Creek field has produced about 8 million barrels of oil and 5.7 BCF of gas. Gross wells for the expected EUR, ultimate recoverable, is about 900,000 barrels of oil equivalent, of which in volume terms, 60% is oil, 40% gas. We have a very large acreage position, which I mentioned already, is 80,000 net acres. The historic production in Class Stick 21, 18 and 19 have also produced, but 21 is our main target one, which is the one we've appraised so far. It's a natural fractured basin, so you don't need to frack. So well costs are a little bit cheaper than they would be otherwise. And we have, as a result of the data that we've produced now, the 3D seismic, and we've assessed 60 to 70 wells in the region as well, and we extended our 3D data out to include 3 wells so that we had an analog on the data. We're very confident with what we have. The management and ops team experience is really key here. The guys that we now have working for us, who designed and acquired our 3D shoot and did the interpretation, were the same guys that had done Fidelity's successful programs further south of us. They designed a 9-well program, of which 8 were hugely successful, and took their production at Fidelity from 100 barrels a day to 3,500 in just 18 months. They've proven that with the right data and the right team, there can be great success. The seismic is excellent quality. It just covers this area here. So it's only about 15,000 acres, 23 odd square miles. Within those, obviously, we've identified these 60 drill targets, giving us the resources that we have. The CPR that we had done in April 2014, so exactly 4 years ago, more or less, is being updated. So we are now going to do just the one clastic, the clastic 21, within the 3D area, and hope to be able to have that out within, well, we announced recently, and it's under 6 weeks. I'm hoping it should be a bit quicker than that. The permitting process, we're permitting 2 wells, one in there and another one in there. The GVU 29 and GVU 22 ones. The regulatory environment in the US has changed dramatically in the past, well, since Trump's administration has come in. We all love to hate him, but quite honestly, I adore him. He's been brilliant. He has made a huge impact. The BLM, Bureau of Land Management now, having delayed everything for ages, now is really on it. Turnaround times for permits, etc., is just dramatically changed. So for us, certainly, he's really quite good news. Local infrastructure, we have a lot of infrastructure. We have a 16-inch pipeline that runs straight through our acreage for gas. There's road, rail, refineries in Salt Lake City and in New Mexico. There is a rail line that runs from Price up to Salt Lake City, so we can either road or rail it. So we really have everything. Oh, and over in Grand Junction, which is up here, this is the I-70 runs here. It's a highway. Grand Junction, which is just over the border into Colorado, has it's the central hub for oil and gas. So drill rigs, frac teams, if we had them, everything is there to be used. The 3D data as an analog was very useful for us. Wesco, which was Fidelity, has very kindly given us quite a lot of their data to help us. They want success in the basin. Everyone succeeds. It's all good for everyone. And part of that was this here, which is one of their best performing wells. I'm not saying that all of our wells are going to perform like this, but they do have the potential to perform like this. This well, particularly the 12-1, was actually the 5th best producing, or in the top 5 rather, in the US in 2013. It IP'd at 1,600 barrels a day and sat there for 90-day IP, and has produced 1 million barrels of oil, approximately. They pay back within a year, and then they sit there for 30-odd years producing, so they're really quite good in terms of economics. What was quite exciting about this is our data has very similar features in terms of the curvatures and thrust faults, which this is our first location we plan to drill, and it's very similar to the 12-1. Obviously, I can't say that it's going to repeat that, but structurally, it should be very good. Just to show what we're looking for in terms of why we don't have to frack, because the 3D seismic is essential for success in the basin. It's to identify where these potential fractures are. And you're looking for these sort of curvatures here, which then push and create. And I suppose a good analogy of that is when you were at school, you had a plastic ruler and you bent it, and it fractured at the top. That's exactly what we're looking for, really. So we have found multiple of these, 60-odd targets so far in the data we're looking for. Well design and planning. The quality of the 3D data has been excellent, which has basically meant that we don't have to do a pilot well first. We can go straight into a lateral. It's about 10,000 feet target. So a dry well cost, in other words, just to get in there, is 5.5 million with full completion, etc. And we would plug straight into the infrastructure there, so we go straight into production. There is no time lag. Is about $7 to $8 million. Permitting is underway at the moment, as I've already mentioned. Operationally, we've had great success so far. The money we have raised, we've spent, we've under budget, overperformed, under great timelines, very similar to what Andrew was talking about. We've managed to do the same. So we shot the 3D high resolution. We did it on time and under budget. We've so far managed to assess the 21 clastic. As I mentioned before, the 18 and 19 also offer, they have been produced from further south, so they still offer upside for us. We haven't got time to do that quite yet, but the 21 offers significant upside as it is. 60 well locations identified. The first locations, 2 of them have been selected, and notice of staking has been put in with the BLM. which is the first stage of the permitting process. Site visits have also been completed. We raised £1 million recently at 3.25 pence. This is because we are in the farm-in process. We are talking to potential farm-in people, and it's much easier negotiation when you have cash in the bank. I think, although there might be dilution now, it would be far greater dilution later on if we weren't negotiating from a point of reasonable strength. We are updating the CPR at the moment, and that will be ready soon. The conceptual field development has also gone in part of that, and the farming process I mentioned has commenced. Upcoming sort of news flow, obviously there's the application for the drill permit, the APD. That is started, as I mentioned, is underway. We will update the market on news. I think one of the key ones here is this. It's updating our CPR, and this, which we haven't done historically, will include a valuation. So we'll actually have an independent valuation of the project, both single well and development plan-wise. That will be in approximately 4 to 6 weeks, which is a key point for us, I think. Sort of could be an opportunity for the company to sort of jump again. Design well planning and the greater exploration of the Gunnison Valley unit. One thing to remember is the actual unit itself is about 53,000 acres, and we have only shot 3D so far over about 15,000 of it. So there's still plenty within that, just that unit itself. In the US, you get state, federal, and private lands. You can put all those three into a unit where you unitize it, and then you have a single operator over it. It's much easier to operate. Also, it suspends the time when you're not actually operating, so you can stop the clock on your leases and keep them for longer, which is very useful. The financing for the drill program, obviously these are $7 to $8 million a well. They do pay back within 12 months, those, so the economics are great. We are in talks with a number of parties in regards to the farm-in process, and we'll update the market on how that is going. And we do plan to spud the well by the end of the year. So we're talking hopefully production latest very early next year. So in conclusion, which I seem to have gone through this rather quickly, we have 80,000 net acres, of which we've only really explored properly 15,000. The 3D seismic is of great quality, and as the use of that has been brilliant. We've managed to do a full geological assessment, and so far, using the Ryder Scott numbers, the 38 million barrels of oil equivalent and a prospective recoverable resources is a great start for us, and that's just one clastic, as I remember. We have the 18 and 19 clastics to still review, and there are others as well, but the ones that we know have produced are the 18 and 19. The existing infrastructure gives us the ability to plug and play, actually drill the well, tie it in, off you go, and we will be producing straight away. It's been de-risked significantly by the 3D data, and we also have this offsetting well, literally 400 meters from our acreage of a producing well, and that's just a vertical well, not a horizontal. The ops team, again, have this great track record of designing a well program. They did all our interpretation. They will design they have designed our drilling program, and we have the drilling engineers who actually delivered that successful program as well, working for us as well. So we have a team with a very good, proven track record. Drill permit expected Q3 2018, initial appraisal well Q4. We have a tiny market cap at the moment. It took us a long time to get the permit to shoot the 3D, which is obviously one of the reasons. Obviously, concerns about financing going forward is another, but I'm confident that we have significant data to support the project, and the financing will take care of itself. That's it. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Any questions?
Yes, do we have any questions at all? I do, sorry.
Can you explain why your operational team had such success, whereas maybe other people didn't have the same success in the same area?
I think it's in the US, there are not many people that actually really believe in 3D seismic, they tend to just drill a well and kind of hope for the best. I know it sounds mad, but that actually is the way it works. And our guys are really, well, they've had so much experience in the basin. So there are 3 other 3D shoots that have been done other than ours, and they did all of them. So they really understand it. We actually did ours at a much higher quality, much bigger fold, and the data that we've got is much better than further south in the basin. That's not just because of the process we went through, but we were extremely lucky that actually geologically it was helped as well. They have Jurassic further south, and we have Mangos at the top, and the receivers worked a lot better for us, so we actually got a much clearer pictures. So the team themselves have had this great success because they've seen in where it's not done. They've experienced how not to do it. We're getting from them not only the technical experience, but also $120 million worth of drilling that they've done in the basin before. So we get all that knowledge, not quite for free, obviously, because we have to pay them, but a lot cheaper than 120 million.
I have a question. The CPR
Yep.
is obviously going to answer a lot. Now, as we say, maybe 4 to 6 weeks, or within that time, we have that.
Yep.
Obviously, if I was looking at this from an independent point of view, I would obviously look at your market cap of 4 million and think, obviously, the biggest concern I have is how are you going to be able to go ahead and kind of fund these wells without dilution issues?
Yes.
How, maybe you can explain,
So,
would you look at doing that, basically?
we are, we've said that we are looking for a farming partner to come in. I think timing-wise, as we heard earlier in the first presentation, M&A activity is on the up. The US has been growing significantly. There's a lot of money about. We have a great project. I certainly believe that. Technically, it stacks up. We've got a brilliant team who have really done a great job in assessing the project, have packaged it really, really well. It's really clear. Anyone coming in with any technical questions, we're very, very happy that we will be able to already have answers in there. Yep. So they won't have to come to us. They will literally be able to assess the data and say, okay, these guys have done a great job. So I am confident that we will be able to find a partner to do it with.
Any more questions? Matt Indians.
Thank you.
Thank you.